Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
It's our people unit for today, and we're talking about a Finnish person who's long gone, but she was very influential in the world of illustration and in the world of children's books. Maybe you've heard of her, Tuva Jansson. Okay, I hope I said that right. She was actually from Finland, although I understand that she was Swedish-speaking. I guess there's a segment of the population in Finland that speaks Swedish. And, of course, she was known for the magical world of the Moomins. Maybe you've read these books, or maybe you read them to your children when they were small, or when you were small, someone read them to you.
I looked them up and I thought, oh, I've seen that before, but I don't remember any books that had these Moomin characters. I would say they kind of look like a hippopotamus, right?
Sort of. That could stand up.
Yeah. Or as we say in Taiwan, hippo. I think everyone in Taiwan has actually given up on saying the entire word hippopotamus because it's kind of long. But they're very cute and lovable. And like Tom said, our artist, Tuva Jansson, is long gone. She was actually drawing these characters from, I think I read 1945 to 1977. But they're pretty famous all over the world. So we're going to learn more about Tuva Jansson's magical world of the Moomins. But first, we're going to read through our article.
They may resemble cuddly hippopotamuses that walk on two legs, but the Moomins are actually a family of pancake-loving trolls with large snouts. Awfully cute and immensely popular, the Moomins are creatures from a Finnish children's book series created in the mid-20th century by Finland's most beloved painter, writer, and illustrator, Tuva Jansson. Born to a sculptor father and an illustrator mother, it was perhaps inevitable that Jansson, too, would pursue a career in the creative arts. Her aptitude for drawing allowed her to create her first picture book at the tender age of 14. A year later, Jansson began working for a Finnish political magazine as a cartoonist. Embracing her talents, Jansson studied art in Stockholm and Paris before returning home to Helsinki just before the start of World War II. To distract herself from the horrors of war, Jansson wrote and illustrated The Moomins and the Great Flood, the first in a series of 9 books about the inhabitants of Moomin Valley. The Moomin books, many of which were drawn from Jansson's own experiences, explore themes such as tolerance, inclusiveness, and relishing the simple pleasures of life. The Moomins were not an overnight success, however. Only when the third book was released and the London Evening News ran a Moomin comic strip did Jansson's creations reach an international audience. Jansson went on to write fiction for adults and provide illustrations for The Hobbit and Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Throughout her lifetime, Jansson received many prestigious awards for her contributions to children's literature, including the Hans Christian Andersen Award. It's hard to believe that what was first sketched as a distraction from a deadly war would later inspire Moomin films, television shows, amusement parks, and licensed merchandise. Okay, everybody, it's time for us to explain the contents of today's unit on people. We're talking about a woman from Finland by the name of Tuva Jansson. And she had this magical world of the Moomins, which we'll explain in just a couple of seconds.
Yeah, they're pretty cute, and we're going to describe them here in the first paragraph. It says they may resemble cuddly hippopotamuses. But they walk on 2 legs. As all of you know, a hippo has 4 legs. But her cuddly hippopotamuses actually only have 2 because they're not really hippos. They're something she created. The Moomins are actually a family of pancake-loving trolls with large snouts. A snout is a nose on an animal. And a troll There's another cartoon that uses trolls. I remember trolls with blue hair. Can't remember the name of it right now. But a troll, it comes from some fairy tales or folklore. They used to picture them or draw them as being these cave-dwelling beings, and they were either a dwarf size, which is a very small-sized person or thing, or a giant. They're giant trolls. If you see the Hobbit movies, there are these really scary trolls in that one. Those are huge, but these are really cute. If it's cuddly, guys, it just means something that's so cute and sweet you just want to hug it. It also can mean something that's very soft and fuzzy. A lot of kittens are cuddly. I would say stuffed toys are very cuddly, things you want to hold on to. So she's created these Moomins that are quite cute. They also love to eat pancakes, which, as you know, is a breakfast food.
Indeed. So, yes, we're describing them as trolls and not hippopotamuses. These characters have large snouts, which are noses on animals that are quite long. The nose is actually what humans have. We don't have snouts, but dogs or bears have snouts. And these trolls have these large snouts, but that makes them look like hippopotamuses, but they actually are trolls. But they're awfully cute and immensely popular. And the Moomins are creatures from a Finnish children's book series created in the mid-20th century by Finland's most beloved painter, writer, and illustrator, Tuva Jansson. Okay, so yes, indeed, we're talking about the Moomins. They're awfully cute. Awful usually means something bad. How did that food taste? Oh, it was awful. I'm never going to that restaurant again. But here, awfully actually has the opposite meaning. That just means they're extremely cute. They're very cute. Oh, those cartoon characters are awfully cute. I just love watching this cartoon. But see here, they are awfully cute, and they're immensely or largely popular, and they're creatures from Tuva Jansson, who, of course, is a Finnish writer who wrote these children's books. It's a series, actually, with different volumes in the series, and they came out in the mid-20th century, which would be the 1900s, maybe the 50s or so, somewhere in there. And, of course, she's done all sorts of stuff here. She's well-loved around the world. She's a painter, she's a writer, and she's an illustrator, which means somebody who draws pictures for books or magazines or whatever. And, again, her name is Tuva Jansson.
Yeah, and like Tom said, what's really interesting about her, you know that Finland and Sweden are different countries. It was actually... she is Finnish, but she speaks Swedish, which is very interesting. And the company that first published her books was a Swedish company. So she can do quite a bit. She can paint, could write, and illustrate, which is always great. So she was born to a sculptor father. Her father was an artist and would take pieces of perhaps marble or wood and shape them. That's a sculptor. And she also had, she had a lot of talent in her family. Her mother was an illustrator. So if you're an illustrator, you usually draw pictures that represent characters in a book. It could be a children's book, but you could illustrate a science textbook as well. Just depends on what you're asked to do. We have some illustrators here at AMC that draw pictures for our tests. Those are illustrators as well. So it was perhaps inevitable, or it was just going to happen, that she would pursue a career in the creative arts. Inevitable means certain to happen. It's unavoidable. It was inevitable that I would grow to love Taiwan so much that I wouldn't want to go back home to America. It's just so great here. So it's something that's certain to happen. It could be good or bad, depends on what you write, that follows that word inevitable.
Which also can mean unavoidable, okay?
Yeah.
So, yes, it was destined to happen. It was her destiny that she would pursue a career in the creative arts, like illustration or art or writing or music or whatever. Now, her aptitude for drawing allowed her to create her first picture book at the tender age of 14. So she had this natural ability, this aptitude for drawing. Okay, some people have it, some people don't. There are probably some people who say, oh, we can all do it if we're given the right circumstances. But, you know, some people can do this better than other people. It seems like they're born with this ability. Mozart had a natural aptitude for music, for example. So that's why he's a famous musician. But she had this aptitude or this natural ability to draw. So as a kid, she made up her own stories and she wrote her own picture book when she was only 14. At the tender age of 14, when we say the tender age, we can also say the young age of 14. She was very tender, very innocent at that time, so she was able to produce this book when she was oh so young.
Yeah, and a year later, Janssen began working for a Finnish political magazine as a cartoonist. Wow, she has a nice background, a lot of different jobs and different things she used her talents for. You'll often see cartoonists who work for newspapers, magazines, of course, and nowadays they're probably drawing cartoons that get placed on social media sites. That's where everything's going, is online. Embracing her talents just means she accepted her talents and really used them to the best of her ability. She studied art in Stockholm. Stockholm is in Sweden, and Paris, France, before returning home to Helsinki, and that, of course, is in Finland, just before the start of World War II. So that probably kept her safe. You didn't want to be in Europe during World War II, that's for sure. We're going to talk more about her and her background, but first, we're going to take a little break, listen to our Chinese teacher, and then we'll be back.
Hello everyone, my name is Tina. 我们来看一下今天有空格一的这个句子。Awfully cute and blank one popular, the Moomins are creatures from a Finnish children's book series. 在这里提到呢，他们是非常的可爱，又怎么样的受欢迎。而 Lulumi 呢，是来自一套芬兰系列童书里面的生物。第一题的 A 选项 immensely 广大的、极大的 B scarcely 稀少的 C efficiently 有效率的 D roughly 约略的，在这里搭配文意，非常的可爱，又受到广大人的欢迎，所以搭配文意。第一题的标准答案我们就选择 A immensely。这里的作者呢叫做 Janssen。我们来看一下第二个空格，在后半段的句子提到It was perhaps inevitable that Janssen too would blank to a career in the creative arts. 因为呢，爸爸是雕塑家，妈妈是插画家，所以似乎看起来不可避免的呢 ，Janssen 他也会怎么样，在这样子的创作艺术的生涯当中。第二题的 A 选项 ，drawn 溺水 ，B spare 给予。C. Pursue 追求 D. Trace 追踪。那么他后来追求了艺术创作的职涯，所以搭配文意。第二题的标准答案就选择 C. Pursue。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, let's continue talking about the life and times of Tuva Janssen, a Finnish artist, writer, illustrator who spoke Swedish. Now, to distract herself from the horrors of war, Janssen wrote and illustrated The Moomins and the Great Flood, the first in a series of 9 books about the inhabitants of Moomin Valley. Of course, this place does not really exist. It only exists in her imagination or in these books. So, of course, war was going on at the time. Maybe some of you have heard start of World War II, when the Germans were fighting everybody in Europe and the Japanese were fighting everybody over here in Asia. And of course, that can be quite violent, even up in quiet little Finland there. So to distract herself from the horrors of war so that she wouldn't think about all the awful things that were happening, she actually wrote a book and she illustrated it. It's a storybook, The Moomins and the Great Flood. Okay, so that's a book that, has a story. You can read the words, but there are illustrations that go along with those words. And that was the first in a series of 9 books, and it was all about this magic land called Moomin Valley.
The Moomin books, many of which were drawn from Jansson's own experiences, explore themes like tolerance, inclusiveness, and relishing the simple pleasures of life. Drawn from is the past tense form of the verb phrase to draw from something. If you draw from something, you use something as a basis for your inspiration, or something actually gives you a sense of what you should do by looking at it. So it influences you, you could also say, many of which were influenced from Jansson's own experiences. So she drew from that. She used those own life experiences to go ahead and draw. So she would also, it says here, explore themes like tolerance. Tolerance is the noun form of the verb to tolerate. If you tolerate something, you accept something that exists, even though you might not like it, but you are willing to listen to something or willing to accept it, even though you dislike it or disagree with it. And honestly, we've got to learn to tolerate each other on this planet because we all don't agree on things, but you have to learn to accept that others have different opinions than you do. So this would be one of her themes, to listen to others and accept others even though they might be different from you. Inclusiveness means to bring people together and not leave somebody out. Inclusiveness is very important, especially when you're in junior high and high school, when people are in these little groups together. So she was trying to get especially kids to accept everybody and not to leave someone out. And if you relish something, you really enjoy it. So here she's trying to help us relish or really enjoy just the simple things in life. You don't need a lot of money. You don't need to go and see an expensive show to enjoy life. Just going outside and being in nature can be wonderful.
Absolutely. So you could also say appreciating the simple pleasures of life. So don't wait until you have enough money to buy a luxury apartment and drive an expensive car and travel to all the countries in Europe and stuff like that. No, like Stephanie said, go for a walk in the sunshine or even on a cloudy day and just be glad that you're alive. So these books might help you appreciate life more. And the Moomins, or at least this particular series of books, were not an overnight success, however. When they first came out, people kind of thought, what the heck is this? I don't know if I want to read this to my kid for a bedtime story. And so they weren't popular right away. Only when the 3rd book was released and the London Evening News ran a Moomin comic strip did Jansson's creations reach an international audience. So this pattern here is only when, only when this book was released did her creations reach an international audience. You could also say it wasn't until the BBC had this comic strip that Jansson's books became famous. Basically, that's what this sentence was, or this sentence means here. So yes, the first 2 books were not quite successful, and then the 3rd book was successful because the London Evening News had this comic strip, which is usually a small cartoon strip of just 4 pictures, a small story with a little joke at the end. And when people saw that, they thought, hey, who wrote these comic strips? And someone said, oh, it's Tuva Jansson. She's also got these Moomin books. Oh, really? I'd like to buy some of those. Then she became popular all over the world.
Yeah, and that was a pretty cool thing for her. So throughout her lifetime, she received many prestigious awards for her contributions to children's literature, including one award that's really pretty cool to receive, and that's the Hans Christian Andersen Award. You might recognize that name. He wrote a lot of fairy tales. If something's prestigious or prestigious, it's pronounced both ways. Tom and I both say prestigious more. Prestigious just means it's something that people really respect and admire. It's got a big high status, so people are impressed by it. If you go to a prestigious school, it's probably one of the Ivy League schools. Maybe you got into Taida here in Taiwan, or Zhengda, which are both prestigious colleges, universities. Maybe you got to go to Harvard. Those are examples of prestigious schools.
Indeed. So, yes, she received lots of famous or prestigious awards for her contributions to children's literature. I guess one really famous one is the Hans Christian Andersen Award. And if you get that, boy, you're really good at writing children's books. I understand there's quite a market for that, although maybe not so much now because the birth rate has declined so much, but that's another topic. Let's move on now to the final sentence here. It says, it's hard to believe that what was first sketched as a distraction from a deadly war would later inspire Moomin films, television shows, amusement parks, and licensed merchandise. So it's hard to believe that because these books, or at least this character, was first sketched as a distraction from a deadly war. So here we've got the word sketch as a verb. To sketch something means to make a kind of informal drawing of something. You're not spending too much time on it. Let me just sketch this image here. Let me just sketch the landscape of Taroko Gorge, for example. But again, it's a rather rough sketch. A rough drawing that is not taking too much time. So she probably just made up this character on one afternoon or something. What if I take a hippopotamus and make it stand up? And so I'll try to draw it that way. And that character was born. So again, sketch here is being used as a verb, but it can also be used as a noun. I like to draw sketches, for example. And also we've got the word distraction, which means it's something that shifts your attention away from something else. It's a distraction. Maybe you're worried too much about your workload or the tests that are coming up. So as a distraction, you decide to go to see a movie so you don't need to think about all those things that make you so nervous.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Sometimes we need distractions. So she would sketch as a distraction because who wants to think about the deadly war? And that would later inspire her films, Moomin films, television shows, amusement parks, and licensed merchandise. Merchandise here refers to products that you can buy. Lots of stores have tons and tons of merchandise on display for their consumers to buy, for customers to buy. So it just means goods that are bought and sold, merchandise. And here it just says licensed, meaning because it was her drawing, her inspiration, only she could use that particular Moomin feature to put on things. She had a trademark for it, licensed. So you have to pay some extra money to be able to use those characters if you wanted to put them on merchandise that you manufactured. So she did very well with this little creature, the Moomin, which is described as being a troll. But I just like to think about them being these really cute hippos. Right now, we're going to listen one more time to our Chinese teacher.
第三个空格，我们来看到前面的主词是 The Moomin Books， 在这里呢提到鲁鲁米系列的书籍，动词就在第三个空格前面。Explore blank 3 such as tolerance, inclusiveness, and relishing the simple pleasures of life. 探索的呢，包括它的内容，后面提到有宽容、包容，以及享受人生当中的简单乐事。这些是探索书的什么东西呢？第三题 A. Errands 跑腿的差事 B. Themes 主题 C. Barriers 障碍D. Vessels 船舰，所以这本书探讨的主题有刚刚我们所说的，所以搭配前后文意，第三题的标准答案就选择 B. Themes。接着第四个空格的句子写着 The Moomins were not a and blank for success, however。这一套系列的书呢，也并非怎么样成功。在第四个空格 A 选项 faithful 忠诚的 B protective 保护的 C. Genuine 真实的 D. Overnight 一夜之间的。在这里有提到呢，其实呢他之前有做了很多的书，但到这里才让很多的读者看到，所以搭配文意提到的是这一系列的书并非是一系成功，所以第4题标准答案我们就选择 D. Overnight。接着第5个空格要考考同学文法的含义，用 only when 开头的句子，那么后面主要的句子要倒装。Only when the third book was released and the London Evening News ran a Moomin comic strip, blank 5 an international audience. 到空格的地方呢，前面都是 when 所迎接的子句。第5个空格开始是真正主要的句子，我们刚刚提到用 only when 开头要倒装，所以我们就找了一个助动词放在前面，所以第5题的标准答案我们就选择 B。Did Jansson's creations reach? 那么直到呢这个时候，什么时候呢？第3本书发行，以及伦敦晚报刊登他一系列的连环漫画的时候，到了这个时候呢 Jansson 他的作品才被很多国的读者给看见。接着我们来看到第6个空格后面的句子提到 Jansson received many prestigious awards for her blank 6 to children's literature. 那么事实上呢，在他一生当中，他因为对儿童文学的什么而得到许多富有盛名的奖项。第6题 A 选项 contributions 贡献， B frustrations 挫折， C distributions 分配， D imitations 模仿。正因为他对儿童文学做出了许多的贡献，所以也获得了很多的奖项。第6题的标准答案就选择 A。 接着第7个空格提到 It's hard to believe that， 然后在 that 后面开始 blank 7 was first sketched as a distraction from a deadly war would later inspire movement films, television shows, amusement parks, and licensed merchandise. 在这里提到呢，我们要看到 that 后面是一个子句，那么呢，在后面它的主词是从空格7开始，一直到 a deadly war， 因为子句后面真正动词是 would， 那么 would 所引导的动词跟前面又有一个 was， 2个动词，所以可见是2个句子，有2个主词。第7个我们可以选择 what 选项， what 等于 the thing which， 那么就可以说到呢，原本一刚开始是为了转移对致命战争的注意力而草草画出的这个东西 the thing， 这个东西后来呢就产生了这么多的商品、电影跟电视节目，所以搭配文法跟文意，第7题的标准答案就选择 C what。 OK， 以上就是今天的课文讲解，谢谢收听。
That's it for today, guys. Tove Jansson's magical world of the Moomins. I'm going to be on the lookout now for that cute little hippo on different products that are sold around Taiwan. I bet I'll see it now that I know more about it. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom. Goodbye.
See ya.